I would have thought a pretty sound one.
Question number 2, David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Prime Minister, does he stand by his statement in relation to asset sales? Quote, I spent my life starting in investment banking. I know how these things work.
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, yes.
Supplementary question, David Shearer.
Speaker. Will he confirm that he had concerns about the effect of Solid Energy's business plans on their financial position as far back as 2009?
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, no, that's not what I've said. What I said is in 2009-10, there was a proposal brought to the government for a natural resources company which the government rejected. Our first major concerns about the company were after the scoping study was completed and I think presented to us in 2012 but undertaken in 2011 from memory.
Speaker.
Supplementary question.
Given those concerns in 2011, what was he doing, making a statement that, quote, companies like Solid Energy are growth companies and we want them to expand in areas like lignite conversion?
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, you're quite correct. I did make that statement. I also made that statement some months before the scoping study was undertaken. And I happen to think, actually, there is the potential for lignite development in New Zealand.
Supplementary question, David Shearer.
Mr Speaker, given that he said that he had robust discussions around Solid Energy's direction, why didn't his ministers object to $23 million being paid out to senior executives of that company during those robust discussions?
That's right. Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, as I understand it, and the member may be better to put the question to the Minister of SOEs, but the payments are actually made to a wide range of participants, not just the way it's been characterised by the opposition. But I think it is worth reflecting on this point when it comes to... No, we're not questioning the number, we're questioning who got the number. As I said, my understanding is paid to a wide range of employees at Solid Energy. Well, actually, they're called the workers, and last time I thought Labor liked those people. They don't like those any more than they like the hobbits. They like
quite sufficient an answer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, David Shearer.
What does he believe his asset program will now raise with the collapse of Solid Energy, given that he has previously claimed it will raise $5 to $7 billion, and his finance minister today said that it would have to be revised downwards?
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Firstly, Mr Speaker, the Minister of Finance tells me he didn't make the last comment that the members come to the House and made and said, which is so often the case we get from opposition members, that they just make this stuff up as they go along, but that's okay. If they want to be absolutely word perfect, that's cool. We can run that on both sides. Second thing, Mr Speaker, it hasn't actually collapsed, although we will need to wait and see the Supreme Court ruling. And the third point, Mr Speaker, is this, that in fact a cabinet paper from April 2011 said that, well, no wonder you've got a lot to say when you don't even rank in the top 20. No one else wants to listen to you.
Supplementary question, David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. What does he believe his asset sales program will now raise from the sale of those assets? What can he tell the people of New Zealand?
Right, Honourable John King.
Well, Mr Speaker, firstly, I think it's worth remembering that the partial sales, the government is retaining 51%. Well, you just answer how many of you didn't vote for David Shearer and I'll carry on.
Would the Prime Minister please answer?
It's okay. Is it 10, 12? I don't know the answer. Whatever you guys think. But
would the Prime Minister please answer the question?
Of course I will. If they give me just a moment to get the answer out, I'm more than happy to answer the question, which is a cabinet paper from April 2011 said that Solid Energy had a commercial value of $1.7 billion. That was for 100% of the company, and based on this sell-down, where the Crown kept the majority ownership, it would raise somewhere between $0.68 of a billion and $0.85 of a billion. So in other words, that is the amount that theoretically could have come from Solid Energy, but for a start off, there's a 3 to 5 year period that the government said, so that's one issue. And secondly, we don't actually know what we'll actually get for the other shares that we sell, so it could easily be $5 to $7 billion. We'll let you know after we've completed the program.
Speaker,
Supplementary
given
question.
that he said yesterday that effectively that Solid Energy was now effectively worthless, is he unable to tell New Zealand approximately what they are likely to get for assets that they own themselves?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
So, Mr Speaker, the member was not listening. Let's run through it right again then so he can get the answer. A cabinet paper from April 2011 said Solid Energy had a commercial value of $1.7 billion. Yeah, that worked real well for you in the last election campaign, but if you want to have that debate again, feel free, sunshine. Okay, going back to what may not come out is 0.68
Point of order.
of a...
Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, it must become obvious to you that the Prime Minister can't go on like a giggling schoolboy in this House when he's answering questions. It's outrageous the way he's behaving, and you should stop him and tell him to get back to his job if he can do it.
It would certainly be helpful to the order of the House if the Prime Minister would give a concise answer to the question, but it would equally be helpful if there weren't loud objections coming from the Labor opposition benches. Prime Minister.
So, Mr Speaker, the $1.7 billion that was in the Cabinet paper for 2011 would indicate that if that company wasn't part of the mixed ownership model, there's somewhere around about 0.68 to 0.85 of a billion that wouldn't be released. But because we don't know the time period under which Solid Energy may potentially be back in the program, and secondly, because we don't know what we'll actually get for the other companies,
Order.
It's quite possible to be between 5 and 7 billion. In other words, nothing's changed.
Question number 3, Paul Goldsmith.
Thank you, Mr.